Hey everybody, Kyle Goth here from GoatFilmReviews.com and the Goat Film Reviews YouTube channel, and I've got my quick thoughts, my reaction to the new Andre Ovredal film, The Last Voyage of the Demeter. I actually did a kind of a late-stage double feature. I saw Blue Beetle earlier, and then I also was like, had some free time, so I thought, I'll go see another movie. So I went to see Last Voyage of the Demeter. It's a movie I've been very excited for. If you've been following me on the channel or on my website for a long time, I've brought it up a few times about my excitement level of this. I think it's such a clever idea for a horror film. Is basically, yeah, it's vampires, yeah, it's Dracula again, but we're going to adapt this one chapter story from the novel Dracula into its own feature film, and we're going to dive into all the bits and pieces of it. And I think that's such a cool idea. It's again like we're seeing Dracula, but we're seeing him in a new and unique way. Because if you've watched any versions of the Dracula story adapted for film, most of them either skip over the Demeter or it's like kind of rushed through in about 30 seconds to a minute. This is an opportunity to dive into some more elements of the Dracula mythos. So I thought that was really cool. And I liked the movie quite a bit as well. I thought Liam Cunningham was the standout as the captain of the ship. He's got that definite kind of like crusty old captain character. I think the standout performance was, of course, Corey Hawkins in the lead. Corey Hawkins is great in just about everything I've seen him in. Even when he's in movies that haven't been great, he's been great in them. So that's a win there. David Dastmalchian as well, who gets to play a little bit less from his kind of weirdo characters, because he's kind of always playing these like fringe society characters, and he's still doing that in a sense, but it's really like compared to the other characters on the boat, he's less of a character. He's more of just a genuine, interesting secondary character that is the guy that's going to take over the Demeter after the captain's last trip. I liked a lot of the character interactions. I liked the idea of kind of the alienness, or similar to like the book The Keep, where like there's this presence on board that is picking them off one by one. Every single night it claims a new victim. Remind me of like the book The Terror from Dan Simmons, which was an AMC show as well. Where this creature on board is taking out one person every single night. We've got to figure out what's going on. I will say I do think the runtime's a little too long. I don't know that there's enough in this film to satisfy an hour and 58 minutes. I think closer to that 90 to 100 would have been perfect. I didn't think that they needed to have the female character that was in the film. I don't know. It's been a while since I've read that chapter, but I don't really remember that being part of the chapter or part of the captain's log. But I don't know that she served a lot of purpose other than to just throw us some exposition. But I did like a lot of the people that were in the cast of people. Stephen Kapicic, I think his name is. He actually plays. I'm blanking on the name, but the guy in the X-Men movies, the Deadpool films, he is the metal man. Colossus, that's it. He plays Colossus. He's in the film as one of the kind of like the friends of Corey Hawkins, the guy who befriends him on the boat, and has seen Dracula in the night. I like that Dracula is visceral. I like that they decide like this is the angle we're going with it, is he is the haunting character as opposed to the kind of sensual Dracula. So it's a nice antithesis from a lot of things that we've seen in the past like several years for Dracula, is that they're going full monster movie with it. And I think that works pretty well. There's a little bit too much CGI at times. And I think it's weird for me to say this. Just in general, the movie costs too much because it's not going to turn a profit, which is too bad because I really think this movie is something special and definitely a step up from the Renfield film from earlier this year that I was ultimately a little disappointed in. But The Last Voyage of the Demeter was a lot of fun. It had a really good ambience to it, a really good tone and mood throughout. It's funny. I used to use the term elevated horror to actually talk about like classical horror, like horror in hit or period pieces. Apparently, I learned several years later, apparently that was actually referring to kind of this hoity-toityness of horror. But this is what I would consider a great period piece horror film, and a nice companion almost to like a film like Interview with the Vampire, where it's got that really special time period, like historical context to it, but it's also something creepy and spooky as well. And I really did enjoy that part of it. So a couple of flaws throughout the film, but I think overall Overdal did another fantastic film. I've been a fan of his since Troll Hunter in 2009, and then followed him through with like things like Autopsy of Jane Doe, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I'm so upset that he's not doing The Long Walk, a Stephen King adaptation that he was attached to for years. Apparently that's not happening anymore, but I did enjoy The Last Voyage of the Demeter. So let me know what you thought about the film down in the comment section below. And while you're down there, please like and subscribe. There are 2 free things you can do that help support the channel immensely, and you never miss new episodes of the show as they drop. You can also find my written reviews on goatfilmreviews.com. You can find Goat Film Reviews on Facebook. You can follow me personally at Almighty Goatman on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and Threads. And you can also find my show, Kyle and Nick on Film, that I co-host with Nick Plotashuk from the St. Paul Filmcast. We have new episodes of that show every single week. Thank you so much for joining me. You can check out all those links down in the description, and we'll see you next time.